I don't feel like I have anything super exciting to share.
Oh, well,
Really?
I did get home
You
from
didn't
my
have
trip.
anything exciting to tell about Kelly getting home from her trip last night?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
We got you, and that's just what it is. We
Just
got you.
accept it. Don't be a sore loser.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever gotten her before?
I'm going to
Good job,
pretend like
lady.
she's not being a brat
I know
right now.
she's being. Okay, Wednesday. You're listening to the Calm,
The Storm.
The Whimsy.
podcast. Welcome back to the Calm, the Storm, the Whimsy podcast. Let's catch up and chat. Anything new, exciting happening? I know that we talk every day, but anything we want to share about what's happening in our lives?
Well, I just got back from a micro church conference with my husband this week, and it was pretty amazing.
And where were you?
Kansas City. So it was fun, and we met people from all over, and we met Francis Chan's team from We Are Church. Met some friends there and contacts, and then we even met a guy who plants church at Disney, which is pretty amazing, and there's some pretty cool things happening down there.
Interesting.
Only you would meet somebody
I
who
know.
plants churches
At
in
Disney.
Disney. Like, I kind of, when Lenny texted us that, I was like, in Florida or like actual Disney? And it's actual Disney, right?
Yeah, all over the globe.
Wherever
crazy.
Disney is.
Yeah.
Like all their
Well,
locations?
Yeah, but now it's
Yeah.
like spreading further because people work at Disney, then they
Sure.
go back home and they start their own little micro church, and it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure she's prepping us to move away and be a part of this.
I'm not moving.
I did say I'd love to go, like, see how they do that down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd love to just be a shadow for like a week,
Yeah.
3 weeks, a month. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You better not be planting
Leaving
seeds.
us again.
Can't handle it. I don't feel like I have anything super exciting to
Oh,
share.
well,
Really?
I did get home
You
from
didn't
my
have
trip.
anything exciting to tell about Kelly getting home from her trip last night?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
I was about to say, there is no way that we are moving on until this story is told.
Well, let me tell my portion of the beginning of the story.
Okay.
I just get home. I haven't seen my kids. My in-laws are there. We're all hanging out. And Lenny goes, "Hey, let's take the luggage up." Now, he's a strong, big man. Like, they're two little carry-on bags. He could have taken them up himself. And he's like, I want to bounce something off of you. And I'm like, what are we bouncing off of each other? It's late. It's time for the kids to go to bed. He's like, just come on. So then we get around the corner. And I'm like, okay, what do you have to bounce? He goes, just come up here. And then I'll stop there.
So we finally got her, Crystal.
We did. We
finally got her. So they were gone. And I called Crystal. Was it yesterday? Feels like it
Yes.
was farther away. I called Crystal and said, I think we have our chance. I think we should sneak into Kelly's house before she gets back and get her, prank her, scare her. So I texted Lenny, and all it said was SOS. And then he wrote me back, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Yes, we just want to hide in your closet." For when Kelly comes home and scare the crap out of her. And he's like, "Oh yeah, totally all in. She deserves this." So he helped us. And the next thing I did was call her sister-in-law, who she also was totally behind us pranking Kelly. And she said we could park in the driveway at her house and walk through the woods to get to Kelly so she wouldn't see our car. Why don't you tell about our interaction once we parked in that driveway?
First of all, clearly there's a pattern. Everybody wants to get Kelly.
Yep.
So,
Ever.
so we got to Ashley's house, and we were trying to figure out, like, where's this path to get to Kelly's house.
They were out of town.
They were out of town, so they couldn't help us. They couldn't drive us there. So we were like, okay, so we're going to figure this out. It was either go through the woods or walk 0.75 miles, which is fine, but it was getting dark, on the road to Kelly's house.
And
So
possibly get caught.
right. Because we didn't know the time frames in which she was coming home, and we were like just making sure that we were doing everything stealthily.
Yes.
So
So stealthily.
So we were walking around Josh and Ashley's yard, and first of all, we walked up to the side yard area, and there was a dog at their neighbor's house that jumped out and was barking, and Hillary screamed.
I love that dog. I've never met it before.
You're so rude. I wasn't expecting it, so I screamed and I'm like, sorry.
Right? And so we just kept walking, we didn't even think anything.
Okay.
And it just kept barking at us. And so I was walking back. Hillary was on the phone
With
Pappy calling to figure out where the path was for us to get through.
Because her mother and father-in-law were also in on it.
Again, a pattern here. And the neighbor was like, did you guys just walk through here? And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's okay. We know Josh and Ashley. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, I just wanted to make sure because a couple weekends ago we found some teens down in the woods down there lighting propane.
Crazy.
Cool.
And we were like, oh, well, that's not us. I promise that's not what we're doing. But Hillary then said, can you help us find this path?
We're trying to prank our friend, and we don't know how to get there. And he says, well, Josh always walks back this way to get to his family is back there or something. I'm like, yeah, that's the family we want to get to. He's like, oh, I love this. I'm all in. And so he puts his dog away because the dog was not happy we were there.
No, it was a little terrifying.
Yeah. So we were trying to interact with the dog, but it wasn't going well. So we walked through the woods.
Yeah.
We got to the house. All her kids were also participating in this and enjoying every minute of it. She's a little angry about it. We went upstairs. Where did we start? We tried the closet first.
We started in the closet, took a couple pictures of us.
Yeah, he never would have been able to get her to the closet. I'm glad we didn't stay there.
Way.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have been able to jump out at her or anything.
So then we moved to the bed and all 12 blankets that are there.
Literally, we saw all of them.
Was it not? It was neatly made.
It was made until we got under the blanket.
We got under the blankets and we started taking selfies
Should have
of
left
ourselves.
the doll head in there.
Yeah. And then we realized that probably wasn't the best either because she'd walk in and see our bodies.
Right.
So we hid behind the side of the bed. And when she walked in, she's going to try to say we didn't get her or pretend. But I have a video, so don't you...
It was all right. They did all right.
You're so full of crap.
Goodness. So listen, I would have
whole
been
body.
terrified because Hillary's blood-curdling scream...
Your whole body jumped. You smacked your husband and you said, you jerks! So, your video, everybody will see what we saw. Stop being a brat right now.
Justin, we got you, and that's just what it is.
Just accept it. Don't be a sore loser.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I turned around and got Crystal that night.
It doesn't matter.
I
It
told
doesn't matter.
Aaron, I said, she got me. I wasn't even paying attention, and darn it, she got me.
Just walking down the stairs, she jumps out at you.
right, and I
the same
smacked her
night.
with my shoe.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Doesn't matter because we finally prevailed.
You did.
The first time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Have you ever gotten her before?
I'm going to pretend like she's not being a brat
I know,
right now.
being... Okay, Wednesday.
She's a sore loser. That's what it is.
I am.
Well, we got you, so just accept it and move on. Okay. So today we're celebrating the joys and challenges and proud moments that make it all worthwhile. Whether you're a first-time parent or a seasoned pro, today is an episode for you. Let's explore what makes us proud to call ourselves parents. So I think we're going to start out with talking about what do we do to instill confidence and independence within our children. And in those moments, what are those proud things that, you do to make sure that your children are confident and independent?
So this is hard because anytime we do parenting talks, I'm like, man, I got a long way to go in a lot of ways.
Same.
I've got a lot of growing to do. And it really makes me sit down and analyze how I do things and how I deal with things. So there's a lot in the confidence and independence department, I do not feel like I'm on top of yet. But the few things that I feel like I have been able to help them with are supporting their interests and passions. So the things that they want to do and the ways they want to perform, I will always encourage and be proud of and make sure that they know that they're doing a really good job. Even if it's not something that comes natural to them, like I don't ever want to demean them or make them feel like they're not good enough to try it, or because it might end up being something that works really well for them, but they need somebody to have confidence in them to do that. And then like giving them tasks to do around the house as they get older. So I feel like that helps build confidence in them too, that they can start to learn and do things on their own and be independent. And like I tell them sometimes, like, you have to start doing these things because you're going to be on your own one day and you have to be independent.
Yeah,
like you
absolutely.
have to learn these different things. And then the only other thing is trying to help them build confidence in overcoming failure. So when they don't do well at something or they fall, like they can be confident in trying again. So, and then the last thing I really thought of is they're watching me. They're watching us as parents, and am I confident? And am I functioning independently and showing them, like, being a good role model of what that even looks like?
Absolutely. So I was thinking about how Aaron and I build confidence and independence, and we have always spoke truth into our children, whether they're doing something really well or not doing something very well. And so just to make sure that they are aware, there's not like a fake underlying, oh yeah, like you're great at everything.
Right.
And just encourage them to, like you said, to try everything, do all the things, but you're not going to be great at everything.
That's okay.
And that's okay. Like, God made you who you are. And so just to, build that person who God made you just to be so much bigger and confident. Also, a couple other things that we have done is like a lot of scripture quoting. And so like, I'll just give some examples because of our kids aren't always like really great at school or doesn't come easy to them. And so we just have done a lot of like confidence building with using scripture and like Philippians 4:13, talking about that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, because we can do all things and you can get through those hard moments, instilling that confidence that Jesus is going to get you through that. And it might not look like what you want it to look like on the other side. But just like taking that, and I just have an example of like Letty had a lot of anxiety with school. And so on a nightly basis, we were quoting scripture together a lot so that she could go to school and feel confident, and in that independent as well. And I also think that when they were littles, to build confidence and independence, we allowed them to explore a lot. We lived at a camp, and so we gave them the opportunities to like go out and just be and figure out. And so I saw a lot of learning and growth in that exploration. And so just discovering on their own.
So you guys said pretty much everything. We just really try to encourage them in confident ways. Like, my kids love to try things and do things, and I always just try to like reinforce, like, you can do this, like put your whole heart and your mind into it, and you can do this, and you're talented in this. And I also, since we homeschool, they have quite a bit more chores that they have to do. They have to do all their own laundry. They need to fold them and put them away. And then now they're doing like different zones of the house, because I'm like, and it's funny because I'm like, okay, you get the kitchen this week. Then they're realizing, oh, maybe I shouldn't leave all that stuff out for mom to pick up. Because now they're seeing all the stuff they have to pick up of everybody else's and they don't like it. Or this in the family room. Or in the bathroom, the toothpaste in the sink, like they're starting to see all those things because they're responsible for a certain area every week. So that's been huge. But the kids love, like my boys love sports, and like we really like encourage team sports because it teaches them like discipline and tasks and challenges them to accomplish something without their parents like right by them. They have to go out there, and it's about what they put into it, what they're going to get out of it. So that's been really well. And like piano, like if she puts the time into piano, she's going to do really well. So, and she knows, like, I have piano, I need to be practicing, like, these are the things I need to do. So,
Yep.
but yeah.
Speaking of that, we also do a lot of the chores thing. And I think one of the biggest things that I see in the independence is when I have to nudge them, but the laundry that they do on their own has been life-changing. And I do think that that's obviously something that they'll have to learn and do the rest of their lives. And so if they can ever help their wives out in the future, like, that's huge.
Yes. Yep.
I would just like to say, if I could go back to answering my question, I would have said we a lot more than I, since I am not the only parent in my home. I struggle with, if I'm talking about my house, it's my house.
I do the
Well,
same
yeah.
thing.
I mean,
Our bedroom, it's my bedroom. Or our kids, it's my kids. And so all of the things I said, I like to support them in there. And it's we. So
it's a joint effort.
I'm just clarifying.
How about values and morals? Do you have anything, like, which values, morals do you prioritize in your parenting? Why or why not?
So we pretty much just model. What are you laughing? I had to think. My brain. Okay. So we just try to modical. I can't even talk today. We try to model biblical values and morals.
Yes.
So it's really important for me to teach them to be kind, to be a friend, to love God, like just encourage others and to respect them. So that's where I go to first.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that. So.
Yeah. So the words that came to my mind were respect, responsibility, kindness, selflessness, and generosity. And then obviously, like, the fruit of the Spirit all would go together with that. So Galatians 5:22 through 23 is the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And really, if those are the things we're instilling in their life, like, all good qualities will start to flow out of them.
Yeah.
As long as they're pursuing, like, and growing in their relationship with God.
Yeah. I would say ditto to all of that for sure. And we value leaning in to Jesus and for them to lean into Jesus on their own. So they have relationships with Jesus, and we just like them to be able to own that. And so, like, those values, and to see, like, continually instilling in them our example of leaning into Jesus, and what that looks like, as well as, again, the scripture that we are constantly trying to pour into them. And I can think of a specific one that we are really talking about right now lately in our home is patience and kindness. And so I just feel like as they get a little bit older, the kindness doesn't come as easy.
Yeah.
And so, like, as littles, I feel like kindness is, in our home has been kind of like easy. They're nice to each other. Everything's fine. As they are getting older, the kindness, the words that they're saying, how they're treating each other is not always good and wholesome. And so just to pour into them of, like, how to treat people, what to say, what not to say, and then to be patient with individuals and themselves, and just to continue leaning into Jesus that way.
I always say that God gave me to your family.
Oh my goodness.
To help build patience. Because they love to be prompt and on time, and that's what their parents do and how they are, and I'm just not that way. So I just joke, like, maybe God just gave me to you to build build character.
I think it's not. I mean, it's not off the table.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I will
definitely
just
there.
own that's the purpose, my purpose
Oh.
for your family.
Okay, patience.
To build patience.
We're working on it.
So it's funny, like, we were talking about, like, values and morals, and when teenage boys or preteen boys are in sports, they hear all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah,
and
middle
it's
school,
funny because,
too.
I mean, I hear things and I'm like, whoa. And I just say, you know, it's fine that they talk about that stuff, but just remember that you're the light. Like, you don't need to start talking like that because you're Leo, and you need to remember who you are and who you are in Christ. And so
Absolutely.
just remember that. Like, you want to, you know, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing all the time. So.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to go back also because I feel like some of the things that we're teaching also is leadership. So Strider is a leader by nature. He was born to be a leader. And just the challenge of what that looks like for an 11-year-old boy is very difficult because in his mind, he needs to lead his peers. He needs to lead the adults. He needs to lead. And it's hard because he doesn't always do it so well, like kindly. And so I think like during that process of like developing him as a leader, the challenge is always going to be just do it yourself and let everyone else follow you instead of making everyone do what they want. He wants them to do or what they've been told to do. And so just, you know, developing our children for each of their strengths is challenging.
It is. This is probably completely off topic, but it reminds me of like how I was a long time ago, like as a believer. I felt like I had to lead people, but in their salvation. And so like it turned from me being to a leader to me trying to like be their God or convict them or be in charge of them.
Yeah.
And so like it's really good that he has you guys guiding him already. Not that I'm saying I didn't have any guidance, but you're already guiding him to how to let people see him lead by example and not necessarily by his push.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen is that push from him, not saying from you, but from him is definitely a resistance of wanting to be around him.
Yeah.
And so,
or wanting to do the opposite of what he says.
Absolutely.
Because that was me.
Absolutely.
So yeah. It's funny because I feel like all of our kids, different kids that we have, they have very strong personalities. So like I have some bossy ones in my home. And I'm just like, oh, like I can help you save so much heartache if you will let me help you figure out how to use this quality that you have for the good and not the bad. Because I used it for a bad in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
it's just guiding them not to get rid of those things about themselves.
Right. Well, and to just learn to use them well.
Yes.
Because used well will profit all of them.
Yeah.
In
Change the world.
Change the world, littles.
I would just say also, like, when we're teaching them, I don't want my kids to think, well, mom said I shouldn't do that. I want them to feel like a conviction, like, well, that's just not right. I shouldn't do that. Like, so I'm hoping, like, through me teaching and through Lenny teaching them that it's not, we shouldn't do this because they told us not to.
Right.
We shouldn't do this because I just don't feel right about it, or that's just not who I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Pursuing passions.
Yeah. Why don't we let Kelly talk about this first?
Okay.
Since her kids pursue every passion they've ever
Had.
I'm all
have.
about kids trying things, but Kelly is all about them trying things. So
What
you
do you
start.
mean?
I mean, they have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So it's funny how, like, when they get older, sports take on a whole different meaning.
Especially when you have 25 kids.
We have 4 kids. Right now I have 2 in lacrosse. Ike is still young, so he's like 2 nights a week. But when we got Leo's schedule, it's four nights a week. And then they have a Saturday tournament, Sunday game sometime. And I'm like, ah. This is insane.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But I know this season's shorter, so they try to put more games in.
Until she moves on to the very next thing.
What? I'm not.
Football will be happening pretty soon.
Yeah, so like we went from wrestling, we went to football, we went straight to wrestling season. And after wrestling, we had like a week off and went straight into lacrosse. It was
And you
crazy.
have fair in there, too.
And then the fair and it's crazy. Lenny and I always joke because we're like, if we can get through these seasons with all these kids in all these different places, we're good. But I just want them to try different things when they're young to see what their passion is. So like if he wants to try soccer, or if they want to swim, or if they want to do football, I want to let them try it.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that they're passionate about, I'll totally stand behind them and support that. Even if it's every day of my life taking them to practice. But
You're so kind.
She is pretty kind.
so yeah, like Liza loves horses and that's her passion. So one of the things, like the horse world is completely, it's just different. It's a lot of money. And I talked to her about that, and I said, if you want to like lease a horse for the fair, you just need to help with some of the finances. We got to figure out what we can do. So she started a business so she can keep pushing on her passion. Like, and we support it 100%. But so she started a jewelry business where she stamps jewelry to help make money for her horse. Originally it was, I want to buy a horse, but right now it's just, let's just keep leasing, taking lessons, and like go that way for now.
What's that business called?
Heart and Hooves. It's on Facebook, and I'm super proud of her. She's 13.
That's awesome.
She's a little entrepreneur, and her siblings always are like, I want to start something, so they always start these little jobs. But yeah, I'm just really proud of her she knows what she wants. And all the little things like, I want to go do this. I want that. Well, my end goal is this, so I'm going to save my money. So,
My kids also want to start businesses because of you.
entrepreneur.
I know. And really, I do love that. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes it's just impossible to do all the things.
And it's important, like, when they're doing these things that they want, like, we just need to listen to their hearts. Like, is this something that you're truly passionate about, or are you just doing this?
Yeah.
Or like doing the next thing. So I think that's what I struggle with the most is knowing what a passion is versus I just want to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so I struggle with that. And we are really kind of strict on one sport for one kid
At a time.
at a time.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that Strider is currently playing 3 sports right now. And
my
so
goodness.
I don't know what happened.
What is he playing right now?
He plays basketball for his school. And so it's just intramural. So it's not it's not a lot. And then he plays soccer and he's currently playing flag football. Pacey kind of took a step back on some sports, and so he's playing flag football along with Strider. They're on the same team, and they really like that together. And Letty has a horse passion too. So the horse passion is right now just lessons, and we can handle that, but I know the future of that. So yeah. But yeah, I just always have a really hard time. I want to allow them to pursue and to engage the things that they're passionate about. And right now I feel like one of Paisley's passions is video games, and he's really good. And I personally struggle with that being a passion, but I look at people and I'm like, they're making lots of money out there doing video game videos and all kinds of things. And so I'm like, maybe it's something I need to encourage instead of put down all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I also I want my kids, when I grew up, I was a dreamer. I was always dreaming about things or what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. So I always, I want them to be able to do that too. And if they dream like, I want to do that, let's just try it. Let's give it a try.
So when I was a kid, I did nothing extracurricular ever. So I did like a singing group, and I did gymnastics for like a minute when I was young. But that's it. I was not involved in sports. I did not do any of that stuff. So in my mind, I just didn't even think about it, like being a part of my life. So my husband was like, they should be doing something. We should be letting them try things. And I'm like, because I don't want to go places all the time and be gone all the time and running all the time, especially now with a baby. But it is fun to watch them learn and grow. And I really, more than anything, never, ever, ever, ever want them to feel like I think that they are not good at what they're doing. So, like we talked about before, even if it's not their best, or even if it's not something that comes natural to them, or they're not great at it, I want them to feel like I'm good with their best, and I will never make them feel bad about it. So, when I was growing up, I used to love to sing. So, like, solos at church. I love singing on the worship team. It even led into, like, my adult life a little bit. But whenever I would sing as a teenager and young adult, there is someone in my life that I should have been able to be built up by and feel confident because of. Never say to me, good job. Never say to me, like, I really love that you did that. That was awesome. You did your best. I don't need to be told to go try out for American Idol. But, like, say to me, good job. Like, something. And instead it was always, well, this was off pitch a little bit. And this could have been better. And maybe you should do this song instead. And so, like, it really took, like, something that was, like, joyful for me away. So I, like, genuinely never want my kids to ever feel that. Not even a little bit. Like, if they're giving it their all, I want them to know that I'm proud of them, and I will never pick it apart. Now, does that mean I'm never going to encourage them? Try a little harder. Like, I can see you holding back. Like, I will do that.
Sure. I feel like that's different, too.
Yeah, but never leave out good job. Never, like, make them feel like it wasn't good enough every single time.
Like, why didn't you do it that way?
Yeah. So when they're pursuing their passions, the most important part to me is that they know, like, we have their back, we are proud of them, we're confident in them, and they did a good job.
Well, just so you know, I heard you singing, and I loved it.
Yes.
And so did a lot of people, and I know you didn't want to do it, and I never understood why you didn't want to do it until now.
Now you know, yeah.
And that breaks my heart, because it was so good.
Yeah. So I'm not, like a solo singer, but I did love to sing in, like,
so good.
worship teams and things like that, and I did it for a while.
I don't think I even knew that about you.
Yeah, because I don't sing anymore, because
Stop.
it's just something that,
You
like,
sing in the van.
Yeah, you do.
Going down the road.
Yeah,
Rocking out to some songs.
I do, but, like, to get up on a stage now, no way. It's just not. It's just stuff that follows you. So I don't want stuff like that to follow my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Well, I'm proud of you for letting your kids try those team sports, even though, I mean, they are a lot, and it's draining.
and when you're there, though, it is fun to see.
It
and
is.
like, you see them grow in so many ways, and they make you proud. But
I think when I first met you, you were like, no sports. Nope, not happening. We're not doing that.
I know.
We are not a sport. Well, this is not what we're doing as a family.
And without my husband, we wouldn't be. Like, he's the one that's like, yes, they
Sure,
are.
yeah.
We need to let them. And I'm like, I don't want to. But
There's so many good aspects from it, though.
there are. Yeah.
Well, they do learn so much about being a part of a team and all of those good values and character traits.
Yeah. I was never really playing sports or any of that either. I just never did growing up. I wish I would have been pushed a little more. I was in the marching band, which was awesome, and it took a lot of hard work and dedication. I know people make fun of it a lot.
Yeah.
But that was really fun, and the only reason I was in that is because my mom pushed me into that and said, you have to do this for a year, because I was at a new school.
Okay, so I was going to say, did she push you because you were talented and she saw that, or just because...
I think both.
Okay.
Because Eliza's a lot like me. So she kind of needs that nudge. And Ike's the same way. Like, he's talented in a lot of sports, but yeah, he's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, you're going to do it. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he loves it. So if they're like me at all, they need that nudge.
Okay.
So.
And Leo's like, Geronimo! Isn't that what you say when you like jump off the building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll do anything. Yeah.
That's awesome. I grew up, so I was, again, my mom's rule was like one sport at a time. And, but I did a lot of things throughout my younger years. So a lot of sports. I played softball. I was in dance. I was in tap. I was in baton for many years. And so I just know, like, in my mom's rule was only one thing at a time. And so that's where that kind of
I mean, that makes
falls
sense.
down, because she wanted us at home for dinner at the table every night. And that was her expectation.
Yeah.
So
Hillary said, wait, lacrosse is 2 nights a week?
that's too much.
And I said, yeah. She
It
goes,
was-
I didn't see that.
It
I'm
was
like, did
after
you
I
look-
already signed him up.
Did
so.
you look at the pamphlet that like you had to read over to
No.
sign up? I thought it was one night. Like,
It hurts. It hurts a little.
I get it.
it is.
Okay. Is it difficult for you to let your children make their own mistakes? And how do you manage that?
For sure.
Yeah.
I just want to control everything. Like, I want to stop bad things from happening, or if I know they're making a bad choice, I want to tell them what choice to make, but that I struggle with, because I really need to, like, take a step back and let them make those choices and those mistakes and then help them in the end. But that's hard for me.
I agree. It's always a growth process.
Because, like, you want to protect them and you want to, like,
Yeah.
give them wisdom, but they don't want to hear your wisdom all the time.
Yeah.
And neither does my dog upstairs. Just
Okay,
barking.
Winnie.
Winnie, zip it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Enneagram at some point. But I am what they call a helper. So allowing my children to make mistakes is really hard for me, because I want to help them. I want to save them. I want to insert myself way too far into everything and protect them and protect other people and all of those different types of things. But I feel like, especially now that they're getting older, we really have to let them make their own decisions, and not all decisions, but make some mistakes, but then walk them through it afterwards.
Yeah.
But be approachable for them to walk through things with afterwards. So not afraid of us, and we want to make sure that they can always talk to us, and even if it's something that they might get in trouble for, not be fearful of us. That was something that my mom was actually really good about, is I would tell on myself for things, and I might have gotten in trouble sometimes, but she was always like super kind through it and walked through things with me and talked through things with me. And if any of my mistakes ever involve someone hurting me, I would always have to say, Mom, I have to talk to you about something, but first you have to promise me you won't do anything about it. Because I can't have you like taking anybody out or like protecting
Same.
me, because that's what we want to do for our kids.
Yeah.
So I just want to feel like I want my kids to be able to approach us the way that I was able to approach her.
I feel like I want my kids to not be shamed.
Yes.
It's probably the hardest part, is like, I don't want them to make a mistake and then me be like, what did you do?
Which is easy to do.
And it's
So
so
easy to
easy. And I do, like, believe me, I have failed many times.
Same.
Yeah.
And so just that process of like shame and you did it wrong and you should do better next time, just those thought processes have to change in order for them to just to know that we all make mistakes and it's okay. And I just feel sometimes I feel like I approach it more tough and hard, and I need to have a little bit more compassion and a little bit more kindness about that, because I made tons of mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Clearly, I make mistakes as a parent. So it's just one of those things. I just want to make sure that I don't shame them in their mistakes,
Right.
and then to forgive them. and to work through that process, because I want them to forgive me when I make mistakes.
Right.
Can you share a few moments when you felt especially proud as a parent?
So I feel like we live in a world that it's all about me. I am first. I need to take care of me and mine. I need to, it doesn't matter what other people think or how they feel, because this is what's best for me. And one of the things that is really important to me is for other people to feel like we're actually selfless and would put them first, because I feel like that's what the Bible teaches. The Bible doesn't teach to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like all of my proud moments of my kids kind of go along with that. So Tori specifically is extremely generous, and a couple things come to mind. When she was younger, she always wanted to take care of other people, but one time she raised a bunch of money and made like little baggies for homeless people that we could just hand out the window to give to them, to take care of them. And she always would want to encourage neighbors and friends and the mailman and whoever you could possibly think of. And then Isley, I feel like, has overcome a ton of hard things in her life, and she's still a pretty positive kid, and she looks for a friend to help. Like, if she can see that someone's struggling, she'll go sit by them. She doesn't need to be a part of all the fun that's going on, and she will like connect with someone that she sees struggling and talk through where she's been, which is really kind of shocked me sometimes, because she's not like super emotional like outwardly, so to see her trying to like reach people has been pretty neat. And then Nora, she always chooses last. So if we get new sleds and they're different colors, the other kids get to pick first. Or if they want like something, she'll take the last thing in line. It doesn't matter if it's what she wanted or not. But with her specifically, I had a teacher at the school tell me that she was really proud of Nora because there was a kid that just had trouble making friends, and Nora was always the one that would play with her, leave her friends, and spend time with her. And then the mom actually came up to me and said, "You have no idea, like, how much Nora's friendship means to us." And I did not prompt that happening. That was all her. So I love that she didn't need to, like, fit in. She would rather be with the person that needed a friend. And then my last one that I have to share is kind of funny. And I have to read a Facebook post. Hudson, also generous. He's also, like, super deep when it comes to, like, God things. So it's pretty cool to, like, hear his, the way he views God and his relationship with God. And he also always puts his little brother first. So, like, if he wants something from me but the baby's crying, he'll be like, "You have to go take care of that, Mom." Super sweet. But I have a post about you and Lenny and an interaction that Hudson had with them. So I'm just going to read the post because it's amazing. They were at our house, and I posted, "I keep laughing about an interaction between my son and Lenny last night. We had the McKinneys over for dinner. When they were ready to leave, Naomi had about 6 different things, and they were not small things, ready to take with her. Kelly and Lenny both said, 'No, we are not taking their stuff.' And Hudson said, 'No, I told her she could have it all.' And Lenny said, 'How about you just pick one thing, Naomi? We will leave the rest here.' And Hudson said, 'But I told her she could take it all.' And so Lenny said, 'Why do you want to let her take all your stuff, man?' And Hudson said, 'Because God wants us to give, so I'm giving.' And Lenny goes, 'All right, load it all up.' He couldn't argue with that. So
man.
when Hudson feels like God is leading him in something, he is. There's no changing his mind. It's pretty cool.
Wow. So for Pacey, one of Aaron and I's proudest moments of him was he was in kindergarten. So he was 5 or 6. And when we lived at the camp, we were doing there was a retreat group that was out at the camp, and it was an internationals group. And so there were tons of students that were international college. Some were older, and they were there experiencing camp. And our 5-year-old son taught them all. Now, again, not all of them spoke English. A lot of broken English. And he jumped into the Gaga pit, taught all of them how to play Gaga ball, like engaged them, and we were like, who is this? Like, this is a 5-year-old who is like communicating with all of these internationals in such a way that was understanding to them, like, because he was a kid,
Right, yeah.
they got it.
That's
they
awesome.
like understood, and so it was amazing. Like, that was probably one of our fondest like moments that we have, like, from when he was a little guy. And then Strider, we have seen in him how he engages challenging people, and that can be from anything. A baby, we've seen it with Grant.
And he loves him.
He loves Grant. And he, takes the time to be with him and to interact with him, to a challenging student in his class, or he has a reading buddy that is super challenging, and he takes it upon himself to be challenged. Like, I'm going to take this kid and I'm going to work with him, and I'm going to help him, and I'm going to teach him, lead him. And so, like, those leadership skills again come out. And so those are our proud moments of him, where he is engaging challenging situations and challenging people with like might.
That's awesome.
And then Letty, so she has had a lot of anxiety and struggle with feeling defeated and not performing the way that school wants her to perform, or putting her into this box. And so we, when we pulled her out of school to homeschool her, we saw her like begin to thrive. And she took that with stride. And so it was like really difficult for her because she wanted to be with her friends and she didn't understand that aspect, but she knew that she was being poured into and that she was going to be encouraged in a way that she wasn't going to feel defeat and anxiety anymore. And so I watched her and I just see how proud I am of just her taking on those challenges.
When I was thinking about the proud parenting moments, I thought about accomplishments, and then I thought about character moments. Mm-hmm. So for Eliza, like an accomplishment of hers that just made me very proud was she worked really hard to go to the fair, and she came home with a blue ribbon. Like, it was awesome. We all cheered her on, and it was amazing. But yet then on the other side where her character comes through is she's got a super kind and generous heart where she's always volunteering her time and helping take care of little kids or like try to play with them, or she's always like out trying to pour into other people.
Mm-hmm. Making cookie dough for us.
Making cookie dough. She loves to just put smiles on people's faces. Mm-hmm. And she's just super sweet all the time. And her friends, like her friends that she knows that don't know Jesus, they're heavy on her heart. So she prays for them all the time and tries to look for ways that, so maybe they could learn about Jesus someday.
That's awesome.
And then we got Leo, who at the end of the game, he made a crazy tackle last year that everybody, all the parents, all the kids just cheered him on, picked him up, and it was amazing. But yet he goes out there, he perseveres, he goes to practice after practice after practice. He's the smallest kid on the team, but yet he works hard and he doesn't get a ton of playing time like the really big guys because we play really big kids, but his heart is something like I've never seen before. So those kids that they love him because of that. And when they're out there getting their butts kicked on the side, out on the field, they come out to Leo encouraging them that we can do this. You got this. We can do this. We can win this. So that makes me super proud about him. Ike is my quiet one who, like I said, I have to push him to do things. So I pushed him on the wrestling mat because he's crazy and I knew he'd be good. And it just made me proud to see him. It's a super mental thing because you are out there with one person and you have to take them down. So I just saw him really control himself through that. And the mental part of it was really awesome. But he literally pinned 16 out of 20 matches. Like he won 18, pinned 16 kids. But yet he has this super giving heart, and when he loves you, and it shows. Like he spent like an hour and a half one day drawing a picture to hang on his mama's fridge because he knew she loved to get pictures. So he drew that. And then when he was in kindergarten, we had a principal that he loved, and money, Ike loves money and he saves it, and he doesn't spend it, but he made this card for the principal that left because he loved him so much and taped all these coins and money inside of his card because he loved him so much. So super generous, super kind kiddo. And then Naomi, she just made us proud in the swimming pool because she advanced so quickly and we were all so shocked, and she was just this little fish in the pool. But then on the other side, I just love watching her pray. And when we pray at night, her prayers get super deep. It's not like, oh, I pray for this and I pray for have a good day. No, it's, hey, I pray that people know who God is, and they aren't praying to any statues, and they just know who the real God is. So she gets like super deep. And I just love, like, my mom had knee surgery. She didn't hesitate. She chimed in and prayed, had her hands on my mom. And I was having blood pressure issues. And every time I check my blood pressure lately, she comes over and puts her hand on me and prays, like, during my blood pressure. So just super proud of them. And they just make me proud.
It's awesome.
I think that is a wrap for us. So thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed our journey through the ups and downs of parenting with pride. Remember, no matter the challenges, there's always a moment of pride waiting around the corner. Keep celebrating the small victories, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Calm, the Storm, the Whimsy podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay tuned for our next episode. Wow, you just exposed us.
You said it.
You said it to who?
Oh,
Shut
my.
up.
It's just my friend, Tiffany. The pie girl. She makes awesome pies. But she's
Facebook.
like, are you recording on your phone? I'm like, no. So I wanted to show her the setup.
Oh my gosh. I feel very exposed. I'm so glad I wore a bra.
Well, I'm
I
glad
almost
you did
didn't
too.
wear a bra.
I almost didn't.